what's up everybody? This is Adam Peterson from TeachersLearn2.com, and we are finally back with episode number 8 of our show, #TeachersTalk2. I've been out of town shooting footage, and I've been busy in life in general lately, so I know it's been a while, but thank you for being patient. Let's get to episode 8 and your questions right now. Alright guys, let's get right into your questions. I know it's been about a week since our last episode, but I want to answer some questions that have been backlogged and building up like crazy. So I've had a lot of questions lately about iPads, apps, and computer sites, and the way I use those things in my classroom, and I know this may differ than yours, but a lot of people ask my opinion on them, so here we go. I took a bunch of questions and kind of compiled into what was the most asked things about those, so I'm not going to do specific names this week because there were way too many questions about this stuff after people heard that I presented on technology at the IRC. So this is kind of the main topics and important things that people asked me, and I kind of compiled them together with the most asked questions being answered today. Alright, so one of the things that always gets asked at conferences, always gets asked of me, I know I've asked this question before, is app purchases. And everyone always asks, how many times do you need to purchase an app? How many times is it legal to put on another iPad or iPod or iPhone? And that differs between home, personal use, and school business use. And that's one thing a lot of people forget. So if you go online, you're going to find all kinds of information. A lot of it conflicts each other. The best thing to do is look at Apple first. They are the ones putting these things out. Make sure you're reading their policies. Check with your IT or your technology person to make sure you're doing what is right in your school. But remember that this differs if the device is an individual or personal use item or if it's owned by the school. So the best thing that I would do is, like I said, get online and check out. Remember, if it's home use, you can put it on up to all the devices that you own if you have bought the app yourself. I know it says share with 5 computers at a time. That doesn't mean 5 iPads or iPods. That just means it can be on 5 different computers of yours. And that's usually just with iTunes songs, not so much with apps. So check out all that stuff. Make sure you're following their policies first. The other thing to remember is if it's a business or an educational institution device, one-time use only is what Apple says on the website that I found today. So make sure that you're buying a license for each app on each device. Now, that doesn't include free ones. You can download that once, load it on as many as you want. But if you're buying an app, and don't quote me, but I'm pretty sure, make sure you look this up first. I am pretty sure that you have to have a single license for each one. Now, you may have a guy at Apple or a girl at Apple that will tell you differently, because we do know that you can share things with different devices. So again, make sure you ask first. Policies change all the time, but the latest thing that I read says that business and educational devices have to be a one-to-one purchase and use license. If you find out differently, please comment and let me know, but that's the last thing I read when I looked this stuff up. But again, don't quote me on any of this. These are what I looked up. I'm sure you can find different information. The best thing to do is go straight to the source and ask Apple themselves. The next thing that got asked of me a lot was how I store my iPads, or how I use them in my classroom, or where they're at in my classroom. You know from my previous videos that my Osmo iPads are on my Osmo station all the time, but I am lucky enough to have an iPad cart that our school owns and the whole school can check out, but it's stored in the room between my room and my neighbor teacher's room. So I'll show the picture up right now. This is what that cart looks like. It stores up to 30 iPads, I think. We have 26 in there right now. So I can use those anytime I want to. You can see there's charging devices for all of them. They all have their own case. But that's where my kids know to go get them, and that's where they know to put them back to charge. That's how they're stored here at our school. If you have something else that you like and know works well for you, post a picture of it and let us know how you store your iPads. But this is my storage solution that my school solved for all of our iPads. The next thing I got asked was apps, and my go-to apps or go-to websites. So we're going to kind of combine this. We're going to talk about my 3 or 4 top apps that I use all the time and my 3 or 4 top sites that I use all the time. So my go-to apps, my first 2, Letter School and Word Wizard. And if you go to my website, www.teacherslearn2.com, it's going to link you right to my YouTube channel. And I've got 2 videos on there of these apps already for my Adam's Favorite Apps episodes. So check out the Letter School video, which has been shared and viewed like crazy by the company. So thank you to the folks at Letter School for doing that. I think that video alone has almost 8,000 views or something like that. And then the Word Wizard video is on there as well. And those are very detailed videos of how to use those 2 apps. So Letter School and Word Wizard, 2 of my favorite letter and word and reading apps out there. On Starfall, we know Starfall is a great website to use. but starfall.com also has an app that is a great reading app. Bookmaker or Book Creator. Search for that. If you are a lower primary or upper primary teacher, even in the junior high, there's a great app, Bookmaker or Book Creator it is called. It's a great one to have kids build stories on a device, and they can type the stories, they can take pictures of things, they can take pictures of themselves to add to their story, they can change the color of the background, and it's like making a book on paper, but they're doing it on the device, and it's a really cool feature. And then another one that I use a lot in my room to talk to classrooms around the country is Skype. Do Skype calls with other classrooms in other states or even other countries if you can. And it's a great way for kids to see what's going on in classrooms in other places around the world. So Skype is one that I use in my classroom quite a bit. I mentioned starfall.com as an app, but also a website. My other top go-to sites that my kids use all the time, abcia.com and roomrecess.com are two of our favorite ones for educational games. The kids love those two. And pbskids.org. We all know PBS Kids does a great job with shows, but pbskids.org has a great learning collection of games too, of learning games. All of these sites you can find right here is the list of them, so check those out, write them down, screenshot it if you need to, but here are all the sites that I mentioned, all the apps that I mentioned. Take a look at those and use them for some learning through play activities with your children. All right guys, the next thing I got asked a lot, and I got this at the conference too, but on questions from emails too, is when I use my iPads. And I know we all want to use iPads, we want to use that technology in our rooms, but it's trying to find the time that works most. And I think that differs a little bit from teacher to teacher, but I use my iPads a lot, or the school's iPads a lot, during morning work time. So if we don't have a specific morning work activity or we're not doing our binders for the day, I'll let them get on Letter School or Word Wizard or another educational app and just let them play and have fun. And you can see a picture right here of the kids working as a family almost. I give them the whole room to go work on their iPads, but they're back here huddled together and working on iPads together, and they love to see what the other ones are doing or how far they've gotten in a certain game. You can see them all working together here. I use them a lot during station time, so I have my 3 iPads always set up as my Osmo station, but I also make iPads a choice after they've finished a certain activity or have to in another station. And then small group obviously is a great time to get out iPads and let them work. If you only have a few, let them sit around your table and work on the iPads with you. But I also, if you're lucky enough to have enough for each child to use, I use them a lot during our letter writing time, as you can see here. We're doing letter school, we're working on our letters right there as a whole class. But I also use Word Wizard a lot during our letter and phonics time, and they're building words and dragging up letters and doing sounds on Word Wizard. So be sure to check those out. Letter School and Word Wizard are great for small group or whole class activities. Thank you, all of you. I know I can't mention all the names because I got so many coming in, but thank you so much for those questions about technology. I hope that helps answer your questions. All right, and our other topic we're going to talk about today came from, I think, what was maybe a joke on Facebook, but I'm not sure, but it was a friend of mine, Jen, posted a comment on Facebook after I put up my question mark the other day on my Facebook and Instagram feeds, talking about parents too, because I want this to start relating to things that you can do at home as parents and not so much just everything related to teachers. So I hope there are some parents out there watching this. If there is, give me some love down below and like this and subscribe. But I want to start showing that parents are teachers too. And these kids need to be learning all the time, not through worksheets and testing and all that, but through fun. And there are so many things that you can do at home with your child to continue the educational stuff at home to help them out. But the question that came through was kind of funny. I said, I'll help you out with anything. I'll answer any questions you have. And my friend Jen posted a question and said, oh great, can you help us with Common Core math? And I joked back and I said, well, maybe I should have put help primary parents at home, because kindergarten Common Core math looks a lot different than upper grade Common Core math. But I thought about that, and I thought that there's something that people I hear talk about all the time is the amount of homework and the amount of the way this is different from the way we learn math. And there's a couple things that I want to point out, and this is for teachers of upper grades, but also parents to remember. And I had a good talk with my old principal the other day. Mr. Farmer came in and we were talking about homework and the issues around it. And he made a good point, and I think this is great for some of you teachers to remember. If you feel like you're sending home tons and tons of homework, ask yourself what the point is. There's no point in a child doing 30, 40, 50 math problems a night when they can show you that they understand that in 10. And I think some of us teachers need to really stop and think about that, and I may make some of you upset with this because I'm sure some of you do it, but stop and think, what do you need more? Do you want the quality or the quantity of that homework? And I think if you really think about it, you're going to want the quantity. If you get that they get it in 10 problems, then what's the point of making them do 30? I don't understand it. Maybe you have a good point and a reasoning for doing that, but really think about that. Quality over quantity is the way we should be thinking when it comes to homework. Along those same lines, I think teachers forget this sometimes, and I think parents, it's important for you to remember as you're doing that Common Core math homework with them at home, there is always more than one way to solve a problem. So whether or not it's the Common Core math directions that your child understands, or the way you learned it that helps them understand it better, or maybe they have their own way or their own strategy to figure out a problem, whatever works best for your child, make sure they understand that there is more than one way to solve that problem. And whether or not they have to show that work on homework, I guess as a teacher, if the child shows me in the class that they can solve a problem one way that might not be the way that I thought it was going to happen, but we came to the same conclusion, then bravo to them. And there's no point in arguing the fact that they did that. My kids, even in kindergarten, know that all the time. If they can come up with a different solution than their neighbor to answer a question of mine, great. I count it right because they showed me that they understand the problem. And if teachers, if you have a problem with that, I think you really need to think about how you see the world, because you're not always coming up with the same solution to a problem as your neighbor teacher and or anybody else in that matter, for that matter, in your life. So really stop and think about, what are we asking these kids to do? What's the important part? And what is the end goal? If the end goal is just understanding how to do math, what is the big deal with the way that they do it? If they come to the same conclusion at the end, then there you go. I guess as long as they're showing their work that they figured it out, I think it's okay. And if you see differently, then let's chat about that, I guess. I feel like there's so many ways to solve a problem, and everybody's going to come up with their own solution that works best for them. And we're always talking about differentiation. Then let them do their homework and their problems on their own and figure it out for themselves. That's truly teaching them to think. So that's my piece on Common Core. I think less is more. I think finding the best possible solution, whatever way that is for the child, is going to be the best way to answer a problem. So there you go. I hope that answers your question, whether you were kidding or not, Jen, to our problems with Common Core. But I don't see Common Core as a problem in kindergarten. I've embraced it, and I understand that, as a teacher, if I'm doing my job, then I'm meeting those goals that I need to meet. We have been all along. There's just different ways we're doing it now. So I'm not afraid of the Common Core. I hope other teachers aren't. Parents, relax. There are other ways to figure things out. But I understand the frustration sometimes, even as a parent myself. But there's no way around it, I guess. Just keep doing what you're doing, teachers and parents. Keep trying to help those kids. So there you go, guys. That is episode 8. I hope I answered all the questions that got asked, and if I did not, keep posting them, please. I promise I will get to them soon. But again, check out more of our videos on teacherslearn2.com at YouTube, and be sure to follow us on teacherslearn2 at Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, and keep watching for more videos posted weekly. We'll be doing a lot more content here coming up. I'm going to be adding some more stations, and like I said in my last Periscope, we've got some big news coming up about some connections that I'm making with some other companies in education. So thank you for watching episode 8. Please, if you have questions, comments, or concerns, post them down below. Be sure to share this with and tag all your teacher friends and parents of kids who might need some extra help at home educating their children. But again, as always, subscribe and keep following us. I am Adam Peterson, and I cannot thank you enough for the support and watching this episode of Teachers Talk To. We'll see you next time on teacherslearn2.com. Thanks.